ready for our next section, which is the ambiguous case. If you remember anything from geometry, you remember that you could not prove similar triangles with SSA. Spelled backwards is a bad word, so entertain yourselves with that. But we can check as to whether there's one triangle, two triangles, or no triangles that are possible if we're given side-side angle. Your steps are here, so make sure to read over those. Those are the steps we're going to follow to solve. So notice I went ahead and set up the information we're given for our triangle. I know I can use law of signs because I have two of the same letters, small letter and large letter. The difference this time is if I look at what piece of information can I solve, I notice that the first thing I'm going to have to solve for is an angle. If I have to solve for an angle when using law of signs, I know that that's side-side angle, and that I'm going to have to test for a second triangle. There may be one, there may not be one. That's what we're going to check, okay? So setup is the same. Sine of 123 over 47 is equal to sine of C, because this time we don't know the capital letter, that's something different, over 23. Okay, just like before, our step one is to cross multiply. Alright, sine C is being multiplied by 47, so we want to get rid of that, so we're going to divide. Now careful, sine C has to stay together for the moment, and it is equal to this fraction. Now, inverse of addition is subtraction, inverse of multiplication is division, inverse of square root is squared. But the inverse of sine is not dividing by sine. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. The inverse of sine is just real original here. It's called sine inverse, and it's sine to the negative 1. So that is how we cancel the signs out to leave us with just C. Now, if we do something to one side of the equation, we must also do it to the other side of the equation. And this is what we're going to put in our calculators, making sure we're in degrees. And for this particular one, we get 24.2. Okay. Now we're going to pause there. I know if you're looking ahead at all, you're like, oh, I can find B now because I can subtract from 180. You are correct. But we're going to pause there and test for our second triangle. So we still have all the same givens, meaning the 123 degrees, the 47, and the 23 are all still there. Okay. To test for that second triangle, we're going to take whatever angle we just solved for. So in this case, we solved for angle C. We're going to do 180 minus whatever that answer was. So in this case, 180 minus 24.2. To get a new C of 155.8. Okay. So thinking about our second triangle here, if I have 123 degrees and I have 155.8 degrees, I am way over 180 degrees, which is how many degrees are total. So since those two added together bust 180 degrees, so think about blackjack going over that number. bust 180 degrees, there is no second triangle. Now the first one is working out fine, so I'm just gonna stop working on my second triangle, finish my first triangle just like I did for law of sines in the last section, and then be finished. So my next step would be to find big B by taking 180 minus 123 minus 24.2. So I get 32.8 degrees. And lastly, I need to solve for a side, but I did that a lot in the last section, so you should be able to do that fairly quickly. So sine of 123 over 47. Notice I like to use my given always for law of sine. Is going to be sine equal to sine of 32.8 over little b, cross multiply, and divide. Okay. At that point, you are ready for a calculator. Making sure you're in degrees again. You should have never switched out to get 30.4. And so case number one, there's only one triangle, and this would be what your work would look like.